Okay, we're currently recording Caliendo Sports Team USA team heading to the beautiful country of Italy. This is our player, coaches, staff meeting, and we'll have some parents on too. Some players may not be able to make, and that's okay because we are recording to be able to listen to it. So again, everybody, my name is Pete Caliendo. I am the owner of Caliendo Sports for over 20, 30, 40 years. I can't even remember. I've been taking teams around the world. Different places around the world, different sports sometimes. It's been an exciting lot of years doing this. So hopefully I have enough experience to give you some background a little bit what's going on. I want to thank everybody for being on, especially the players. I know you guys are playing. You got a lot of things going on. First of all, I just wanted to say, and I'll admit, as we admit somebody else, we'll just let you know that we're recording this. So if you don't want to be videotaped, turn your camera off. Again, I'm Pete Caliendo, Caliendo Sports. Wanted to mention that, first of all, to the players, welcome. I know we got some parents on here, no problem. Again, we're recording. And then one of the things I wanted to start off with is to let you know, and I'm sure you know this already, but you're very lucky to have this experience, to be able to go to another country to experience a baseball cultural life experience, because that's what it really is. It's not just baseball. I know your love is baseball, but you're going to a country, which actually I was not born there. I grew up there. I lived there from 3 to 6. I just tell you, my first time flying there I was 3 years old. So I beat you all, I'm sure. I don't think maybe there is somebody at 3 years old that flew, but I flew with a flight attendant. I didn't fly with my parents. So flight attendant sat next to me. So that was my beginning in Italy. My parents were born there. Obviously, I have relatives there. I've been there over 40, 50 times. So I've been very lucky. It's a great country, great people, great culture, great food. I mean, you name it. You saw the movies. A lot of young guys, you hear about Italy. You know, if you haven't, check it out on Google. It's just a great place. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm not going to introduce the coaches yet. I'm letting somebody else in. I sent an email with the bios of the coaches. Some of you already know the coaches. Coach Darren's going to say a few things in a minute here. But I also sent the bios in an email. Check out, if you don't know the coaches, check out their bios. They're excellent coaches, excellent people. I think that's important for you to know who they are. So hopefully you already know, but if you don't, check it out. The most important thing about this trip is that, and I'm admitting, okay, we got somebody else coming on. Frank, welcome. We're recording this, so if you don't want to be videotaped, just turn off your camera, and you'll get the recording part. We're recording for anybody that maybe can't make it. So the next thing I wanted to mention was, we all are, not just the players, but the whole group. We're ambassadors to the U.S. Anytime you go overseas, you represent your country. Doesn't matter where you go. And every time you do go overseas, if you haven't traveled overseas, you're like a magnifying glass. A lot of people love America, and some people don't. I mean, that's normal. I mean, it's normal in general. Not everybody can like each other all the time. But you're a magnifying glass because everything you do gets magnified 1,000 times. I'll give you a small example. In Japan, if you spit on the ground, that's disrespectful, right? I hate to say it. I have a habit. I do spit at times, but I control it. So if that's disrespectful, we've got to know that, right? If you're going to Japan, because the first thing you're going to do is that's going to be back 500 times or 1,000 times. You're going to say, see, the Americans don't care. So everything you do on the field, off the field, at the hotel, on the bus, touring, at lunch, everything, people are looking at you, especially if they know you're American. They're also looking at you because they're impressed they want to meet Americans, right? If someone don't get that chance. So obviously you want, I say you want to be on your best behavior, but you should always be on your best behavior, that's just being professional and being a good person. Treat people how you want to be treated. So as an ambassador to the U.S., to Caliendo Sports was extremely important because it's my company. You're representing me everywhere you go. And obviously the coaches, your parents, your city, everybody, you're representing a lot of people overseas. So just keep that in mind. I know we've got some great kids. The coaches know the players. We've got great parents on the trip. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's some things I'm going to tell you about Italy, just so expectation wise. Okay. So keep that in mind. The other thing is uniforms. I wish I could have shipped them to you, but I'm going to bring them because they just arrived. And two things, One UPS, I know they're negotiating the strike, and there's a tentative UPS thing. I don't want to take the chance. I also don't want to get a chance that one of them gets lost in the when we're shipping them, or they don't get there on time. So I'll bring them. We'll have a meeting the night you arrive, and we'll distribute all that evening. Another important aspect of this whole trip is this is not your typical weekend. What color baseball pants I preferred? That baseball pants, great if you have them, but we don't want to force people. And in my emails, I put that in there. We don't want to force people to buy new pants. Okay, the trip's expensive. And by the way, thank your parents, because I'm sure they're the ones paying for this, and they're spending a lot of money. And obviously, money doesn't grow on trees, and they got to work for that. So we don't want people to go out and spend extra money. So it doesn't matter if they're great pants with white blue lines down the side. If you don't have great pants, bring white pants. White is just a little bit more dirty. That's all. The Italians don't always have full uniforms everywhere we go. Some countries we go to, Cuba, Dominican, don't have hardly any uniforms, right? So we're not trying to overshadow people. We just want to look nice, look good. Now back to the schedule. I know you all play a lot of games in the summer, and that's one concern we have. Obviously, we're going to be controlling pitch counts and pitching and all that, especially your arms. Coach will go over all that. But the schedule itself is not always something you may be used to, because you go to a tournament, you play in a weekend, you play 4 or 5 games or 6 games. Okay, that's a lot of games, big tournament, but you're going back to the hotel, you got your own car, your parents have their car maybe. This is a little different. We're together as a group. It's a little bit more like being in professional baseball, where you're get on a bus and now you're traveling, and then you're playing, and then you're going back to the hotel. But before you play, you're also touring. So think about it. Breakfast, 7 o'clock in the morning, roughly. 8 o'clock, maybe depart. Could be earlier, depending on where we're going. Baseball clubs in Italy are not set up in every town. It's not, they have basketball, soccer in every town, but they don't have baseball. So we're spread out a little bit. So we have different schedules time-wise when we leave. So you have breakfast was mandatory. You take off, you got to make sure you're packed for the full day. So think about that. Can't forget something, because you're not going back to the hotel. So you got to prepare the night before to make sure you got everything. You take off, you have breakfast, we go to the bus as a group, everybody, we're one big team, coaches, players, parents, everybody's together in everything. So we're always together all the time, except for lunches. That's when you get a chance to kind of get away from the group and enjoy yourselves a little bit on your own with your parents. After the tour, which remember in Italy, it's going to be pretty hot. Hopefully we reach a point where this heat wave drops when we get there, but we don't know. Normally in August, it's hot. So anticipate that's going to be very hot. On the tour, that's a tour guided by a guide. We explain to the tour guide, just so you know, we want to keep it to a limit. We want the highlights of the tour. We don't have time to go over every little detail, but the most important part there, be extremely respectful to the tour guides. Why? They take extreme proud. They're very proud in telling you about their history, because they have a long history compared to ours, obviously. And they have a lot of pride in their country. So sometimes the wrong looks or not paying attention, even though you might be listening, may look like you're disrespectful, right? And that's no different than when you're on a team. I coached 40 years. When I have a player that, we're talking and you're not looking at me, I've got to think twice about you, why you're not looking at me. You may heard everything I said, but are you being respectful by, watching the actual person that's talking, which doesn't mean you're listening, but at least you're paying it. You're looking at the person. That, I think that's respect. Take off your sunglasses when you're looking at them. I think that's respect also. So now the tour is done. You're going to go walk around with your parents, right? Grab some lunch. It could be anything from just great pizzas they have, in the windows where they sell the different stores. They've got sandwiches. They got great food. All of it's natural food. It's healthy food, most of it. As a matter of fact, Italy is one of the healthiest countries in the world, along with Japan, just so you know. You might sit down and eat, but sometimes you walk around. Why? Because you get a chance to see a few things. Then we meet back at a certain point, boom, back on the bus, off to the game. Once you get to the game, you got to make sure your backpack's packed underneath the bus and ready to go, because now you get your backpack, you're going to go to the clubhouse, change, get ready, and get ready for the game. The game is going to be depending on what our schedule is that day, just so you know. The game could be so many hours, so many innings. It just depends because of the fact that, remember, these are exhibition games. You're there to enjoy your time there. Obviously, you want to compete and coach for all of that. I mean, nobody goes out to lose a game. That's not your thought process. Your thought process, obviously, you want to win. But at the same time, you're going to be moved around. It's going to be hot. You're going to play different positions. And the coach will go over, coaches will go over that. Before the game, you're probably going to have enough time. We'll make sure you have enough time to warm up, because what we want to do is try to get you as many innings as possible. We want to warm up, throw. If you got some time, you'll take infield. If you don't, you just got to be ready. Most of you have been playing all summer. Hopefully, you're doing pretty good. You should be able to field, throw, and catch. The most important thing, you got to be able to communicate with each other, because there's no practices, right? So you got to be able to talk to each other. That's vital. But that's vital anyways, because as a player, you want to play the game on your own. You don't always want to be told what to do constantly. So then the game will start. Game's over. We shake hands. There's going to be some, you can bring, we put in to your parents, the emails, we put in some things in there about bringing some gifts. What we meant by gifts were little things like baseball cards, people like pins, maybe from a club, or a lot of the minor league teams have giveaways, little small giveaways that sometimes they don't, they're last year's giveaways, right? Maybe you go to a team and say, hey, what do you got? Because they're going to throw them out most of the time anyways, or anything from your city, or just anything small. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just have a couple for each game, and you just give them to the players, and I think that'll be nice. It'll be a nice gesture. Then you'll take a team picture with the other team. You'll mix up, take a picture, maybe be able to visit a little bit with the players, because, players going to want to talk to you. Once in a while, they're going to ask you to trade things. What do I mean by that? They see it says USA on your shirt, on your jersey. You're not going to be able to trade it right away, because you got a red and a blue. You're going to need them. But if you have some shirts you want to bring to trade, sometimes they'll say, I'll trade you my shirt from my club to one of your shirts. So you may want to bring something like that in case somebody wants to trade something. After the game, boom, we're gone to dinner. So it could be at the hotel or it can be in town. So you see now, all of a sudden it's 10, 11 o'clock. Now it's time to what? Get some sleep, because you want to be prepared for the next day. One of the top things in baseball or any sport is recovery. If you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to perform as well. And one thing I can tell you about this type of trip, don't get discouraged if you're not playing as well as you've been playing up till now. I've seen it a lot. It can happen easily because everything's different, okay? The pitching's different. The fields are different, maybe. The travel is different. You just came off, you have one day when you arrive to relax, right? The first day. The next day, we have a game that morning right away. If you look at the schedule, the parents know it. They looked at the schedule. At 9 o'clock in the morning is when our game is. It's the only day we're able to pull a game early in the morning. We like to do them all in the morning because it'd be a little cooler, but that's not possible with the way the club's organized there. This club can do it. And then from there, we go to lunch, and then we go to Coliseum in about late afternoon, about 4 or 5 o'clock. So again, if all of a sudden you're not hitting as well or you're not throwing as well, don't get discouraged, because there's a lot of I lost kind of a train of what the word I was looking for, but uncontrollables that you really can't control, and it makes you play a little bit differently. If it happens, it happens. That's life. Do your best to just come back and see if you can get back into it. But I just want to warn you that because of the touring and all that, you're going to be outside. You could get a little tired at the same time. So that happens. But again, don't get discouraged when that happens. Okay, a couple other things. Like anything else, we expect you to keep everything clean, whether it's the hotel room, your parents are with you, the bus, dugouts, no matter if they're dirty when you got there, it's clean, spotless when you leave. Okay, I'm sure all your coaches understand all that, who you play for. That's just a sign of respect. Doesn't matter if the dugouts was dirty when you got there, or it's just professional. All of a sudden you cleaned it completely as a team, you left together. That looks professional. The other thing is, be friendly, right? Because it's intimidating sometimes. You don't know people. You don't know the Italians. It's easy. Smile. If you smile, it opens up everything right away. People relax a little bit, right? Say ciao. Ciao means hi. It's that easy. We'll go over that at the meeting that evening too. Say ciao first, say hi first, and that makes them feel real comfortable. Couple things as far as the cultural parts, things that you're accustomed to in the US. Keep in mind, you're no longer in the USA, one of the greatest countries in the world. I've been to 50 plus countries. Ours is at the top of the list, in my opinion. That's me. The most important thing is to understand that and know that the culture is different there. So what does that mean? That means when you go to the restaurant with your parents or with us, things are going to be slow, especially when you got a big group, obviously. But no matter what, even if you have 5 people, 4 people, you're going to go eat. They're not in a hurry to pick up, to get you out of there. It's not like in the US when they want to turn over tables. Waiters are paid. They're not paid on tips. They're paid employees. So you don't necessarily have to tip. Americans like to tip. That's fine. Sometimes you just leave a couple bucks and that's good. If you're on your own, obviously. If you're with us, you don't have to tip. We already have that covered. If the dinner's included on our end. So just be patient. The food may not come quick. The drinks may not come quick. Just relax, enjoy the company, and talk. You don't get refills. If for some reason, if you drink Cokes, they have all that sugar that's not really good for you. You don't get free refills. So let's say if you're in Venice, you're with your parents at a restaurant, and they bring you a Coke, and you say, "I'll have another." Well, there's another charge, and then all of a sudden you didn't know. I have another. Before you know, you got 5 of them. You paid $10 for 5 Cokes, maybe more. So just know some of the cultural aspects of it. Ice is not a big deal there, right? You bring your Coke or bring you a drink, and you expect ice in your Coke. Sometimes you may not have it, or you may have 1 cube. May have to ask for it. They don't make a lot of ice. A couple reasons. One, they don't believe in ice because they don't think cold drinks are good for your stomach. Some scientific things behind that. And 2, electricity costs a lot. And notice, you saw the movies in Italy. They hang their clothes. They have a washer, but they don't have a lot of dryers in their homes. Again, electricity, and they hang their clothes to dry them. So again, don't expect the ice. If you're a coffee drinker, that's different. Don't expect the American big cups of coffee. They got the espresso and the cappuccinos. Those are different than ours. A lot stronger. But overall, there's a few different cultures where things are closed certain days, certain hours. Most of the time, the stores during the day. You're in a tourist area, a lot of things will be open for tourists, but there's certain Italian stores in those areas that might be closed between 12 and 3. That's it. They take a break at lunchtime. They close the stores and they leave. They negotiate things too, and they're very good at it. So if you're out in the markets and there's a jacket you like, or there's a cap or something, and you want to go negotiate the price, all you got to do is say how much, and then say no thanks, and walk away. And sometimes they'll give you a different price. But they're very good negotiators. Let me see. I had a question here. Oh, no, that's the same one, right? Okay, cool. So overall, that's in a nutshell. I kind of wanted to give you a little bit about Italy, as far as you're going to see a lot of history. You're going to see, you're going to eat great food. Coach Darren, help me out here. Anything else I missed as far as when you were in Italy a few times? Anything I missed?
Yeah, one of Coach Caliendo's favorite words is flexibility. He didn't use it today, but it's really important to be flexible the whole trip. Like the bus, gets a flat tire, which I've never experienced, or the restaurants having trouble getting the food out on time, or the baseball games starting late because the umpires aren't there yet. You just have to be willing to be flexible, knowing that it's not New York. I know we got some guys from Maryland, but people in New York expect things done immediately, and that's not going to be the pace overseas. So just be aware of that in terms of flexibility. Also, make sure you have a really comfortable pair of walking shoes. And, we'll probably tell this to the parents tomorrow night, because on these tours, there's a great deal of walking in the heat, and not all the roads are nice, evenly paved. They might have some 300-year-old cobblestones that you're walking on, at least, maybe older than that. And then you're going to go play a baseball game. So it's really important that you're cognizant of your footwear. The good news is we have a terrific, comprehensive group of coaches that are going to really help you a great deal in all aspects of your game. Pete, are you okay if I get into some of the baseball
Yeah, go
uh,
ahead. Before you
details?
do it, you brought up a good point before you do that.
Yeah,
On the walking part, just make sure you got, a hat. Always wear a hat, sunglasses, protect your eyes, sunscreen, and make sure that, coach already said walking shoes. Make sure you bring your water bottle. And have a water bottle with your name on it. We put this all in the literature for your parents. So, especially because as you walk around something, you don't want to keep buying water because it's going to be expensive. But at times you can get it on the bus. I think it's only €1 on the bus compared to everywhere else, a lot more expensive. But the water, there's fountains sometimes when you walk around, you get a chance, you can fill it up at one of the fountains. Best water you can have, by the way, better in the stores. Yeah, coach, this is a good time to begin. And then if there's any questions, we'll go from there. But go ahead.
yeah. So you guys have been playing summer baseball, and most of you are probably feeling a little wear and tear. These travel tournaments can be, very extensive, where you're playing 3, 4, 5 games in a weekend, possibly 6. What I would say is we're going to monitor all of your physical, we'll just say, aches and pains or fatigue. So pitchers, you'll probably all get cut off at 50 to 60 pitches. I expect you'll probably see 3 pitchers throw in a game. And when you are pitching on a day, you won't play the field or bat those days. Luckily, we have Coach Santoro, who's going to be working with you in the bullpen. You'll be doing your band work. Anything you normally use on game days or practice days, feel free to bring it. I'm not sure you want to bring weighted balls if that's part of your routine, but you should bring most of the things that you are accustomed to using. If you're using Jaeger bands and you have a routine, feel free to bring it. We're going to have a coach with you in the bullpen. We are going to have you do a post-game recovery, yada, yada, yada. Likewise, we have a bunch of catchers. We're lucky. I think we have at least 4 catchers.
Yeah.
So that's a real benefit. We're probably split game catchers because you're going to be tired in that heat and you're going to be tired walking. So my guess is you'll probably catch 4 innings and then someone else will take over behind the dish. And these are all positives. And I know a lot of you have secondary positions. So even though you catch, you also play first base or third base, etc. We have a fantastic trainer coming on the trip. So if there are any issues, Coach Tauber is going to be there to evaluate you, assess your pain and aches, and be able to, correctly identify what you need done. So we're lucky that Matt Tauber is going to be with us. He was, trainer when I took my teams to Florida 20 years ago. So really excited that we have Coach Tauber and Coach Santoro, and we have Coach Balliet, who is a head varsity coach. He's also a travel coach. So, I mean, we're getting a real comprehensive staff here. Coach Santoro's son is a college baseball player, so he can discuss the college process that he experienced as a parent. I'm a college coach, so we'll be taking you through a lot of that on these bus rides. And that's where we have a lot of talks. I do want to talk a little bit about baseball stuff here, because we are going to have one meeting in Rome the first night you arrive. You're going to get your uniform and you're going to get some other things from us. And I thought it'd be good to kind of go over some quick signals that we're going to be using on the trip, which we will review again in Rome. But we know sometimes people like to get them down pat early. So you're welcome to take notes. I'm not requiring it. We'll probably send out an email with some of this. Our signs are going to be very simple, right? We haven't played together, as Coach Caliendo mentioned. We don't have practices before our first game. So we're going to be kind of simple with a lot of this. Number one, the last sign that you get offensively, let me see if I can lower this a little. The last sign you get offensively will be the live one. Okay. If the third base coach, whoever's coaching third, whether it's me or Coach Balliet, The last sign will be live. If he touches his right hand, that's the one facing the batter, that'll be bunt. If he touches his left hand, that's the one facing the field, that'll be steal. So he's going to go through a whole set of signs like always. You're going to want to watch the whole sequence. The last one's live. Okay, if he touches his left hand, that's the hand facing the field, that's steal. If he touches his right hand, that's the hand facing the batter, that's going to be bunt. If he touches the steal and then goes to the back of his head, that's going to be a delayed steal. Anthony Artis, you're a catcher. Tell the group, little Q&A for you folks. Tell the group why a coach would put on a delayed steal. How would he know that a delayed steal might work?
Basically, sometimes there's a runner on third. He tries to get the catcher to focus on the runner that's going to try to run to second, so the person at third could get to home and get a free run.
Okay, so first and third is a good strategy to do a delayed steal. What if it's just a man on first? Nick Mazzola, you're a catcher. I don't know if you can hear me, Nick. Why would a coach think a delayed steal is a good idea with only a man on first? What might, I feel like I'm teaching Pete back in the pandemic. I got
Yeah.
four faces and everyone else is on Netflix or on Instagram. All right, I got another catcher on the call though. I got Will Tauber. Will, can you hear me? And can you tell me why a coach would put a delayed steal on with just a man on first? Okay. Can anyone on the call turn on their microphone and tell us why you would do a delayed steal? Why would a coach put on a delayed steal? What does he see? Peter,
Peter, what? Go ahead, talk to me.
come on, Petey.
Could you try to get a balk out of the pitcher? Or see catcher's arm?
You could try to get a balk, but what is a coach seeing the defense doing that's saying to themselves, wow, this delayed steal will work?
Maybe if the catcher is really slow back to the pitcher, he's like taking his time.
Thank you, Anthony. Maybe he's falling to his knees. He's lobbing the ball back. And then we have some middle infielders on the call. Gavin Pope. Gavin, can you tell me what an infielder might be doing that might tip a coach off into a delayed steal?
The infielder could just like look away and not be paying attention to the play.
Very good. I mean, what does a good infielder do after the pitch crosses the plate? He's taking his little hop. He's pinching in. He's aware that the runner could go, right? If they're asleep back there, that's when we might put a delayed steal on. What is a delayed steal going to look like? Let's hear from my guy, Avi. Avi, you'd be a good delayed steal candidate. Avi, what does a delayed steal look like as a base runner?
Well, instead of just going like a straight steal, you want to take your shuffles and then go.
Okay. Anyone want to get into the difference on the shuffles on a delay versus maybe a normal secondary lead? Declan Bruder, you out there? Nolan, are you out there?
Three shuffle.
All right, Nolan's microphone's not working great. I hear the internet in that house isn't terrific, Wi-Fi. But I think what I heard Nolan say was, you're gonna take 3 shuffle steps rather than the normal 2 of a secondary. So just wanted to get a little baseball chatter going here. That's really all we're gonna have. If we wanna do a hit and run, we'll go through the signals, probably touch the brim of the cap. So you got hit and run, you got bunt, you got steal, and then you got delayed steal. And that's really gonna be it. Let's talk a little defensive signals. If we're in a first and third situation on defense, like most of your teams that you're playing on currently, the catcher can throw straight through to second base. He can throw directly back to the pitcher. Maybe we don't want to risk the throw, or he can go to third base. So the way we'll do that is we'll call out a sequence of 3 numbers. If it's three numbers. The middle number, the second number will be what's live. So if we say 326, the 2 would be live, and that means the catcher's throwing directly to second base. If we say 311, he's throwing right back to the pitcher. And if we say 438, 3 is the middle number, catcher's going to go right to third base. All right, I think that's pretty simple. Very important that you catchers communicate those numbers once the coaches relay them in. Okay. And if you're a third baseman, you better know on 438, the ball's coming to you. So let's all be alert on this. We're probably on a bunt defense, not gonna, I mean, we'll either go navy or red. Navy will be a very conservative play. Let's just get the out at first. Red, we're gonna crash harder and try and get the lead runner. Not expecting to probably utilize bunt defenses. We might have a coach go to the mound and bring everyone in and have a little conference if it's a crucial spot in the game or we need to discuss bunt defense. That would be my expectation there. All right. I would just stress a few things. One, communicate with your coaches, and that includes Coach Matt Tauber, about any aches and pains. We don't want anyone getting hurt, right? You've played a grueling summer schedule. The goal here is to have fun, play competitive baseball, try to get better as a player, but not injure yourself. Two, I would really just try to learn the cultural differences. And we're going to talk a lot about on the bus ride, how the Italians play baseball and how we play baseball and some of those differences. And I know you might be saying, well, Italy's not known for baseball, but some of the greatest players in US baseball history were Italian Americans, Joe DiMaggio, Mike Piazza, Yogi Berra, and the list goes on and on and on. So understand they take a lot of pride in their baseball. I do want to maybe turn it over to some of the other coaches. Coach Santoro, would you like to say anything to the group?
I'm just really glad to be here, be included, and look forward to working with the other coaches and the players. Been to Italy 4 or 5 times, and love Italy and love baseball. So it's perfect trip for me. I look
Sounds
forward
good.
to working with you guys.
No,
Awesome.
and we're lucky to have you. We're excited to have you. That we have someone who's going to be working with our pitchers and helping them before they take the mound and after, and someone who's got a son who not only plays college baseball, was conference player of the year, guys. So this is a terrific resource for us. By the way, Coach Caliendo is more than just a guy running a trip. He's USA baseball coach. He's written books. He's made DVDs. He's done this trip 30 times. And one thing I can say about, working with and for Coach Caliendo is his trips run very smoothly. But let's not forget the F word, flexibility. All right, Coach Balliet, is there anything you'd like to add or
I was
just
afraid
say?
something else was coming out.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bangul.
Which by the way, just so I can interrupt real quick, I did forget to mention, guys. Personally, I hope you all have a good time, great time. One of my biggest pet peeves is swearing. I don't want to hear any of it anywhere, whether it's in the hotel, meal, when you're eating, anything. I don't swear. I've never swore with my teams. I don't think it's very professional. Other people may choose to do that. Again, you're representing our company also. And I'm sure you're all very professional about it. I know sometimes it slips. It slipped with me too. And I've apologized to younger players when that happened, but I could probably remember twice that it's happened my whole life because I'm just not a big believer in it. So Coach Claude, go ahead. And by the way, Claude's got the coolest name, by the way, Coach. You got the best name so far.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, I mean, just piggybacking off Coach Santoro there. I mean, I'm really excited to be given the opportunity to be part of this trip. When I was your age and still playing, I wish I had an opportunity like this. So I hope you guys realize how lucky you are. As I've gotten older, I mean, baseball and travel have kind of become my 2 passions in life. So being able to blend them together is going to be a really exciting time for me here.
Yeah, and you've traveled overseas several times.
Yeah, I did 26 days in Europe by myself in 2019, so I'm excited to go back.
Nice.
Yeah, coach, I just want to make sure everyone understands. And some of you went on a spring training trip with your high school teams. Maybe you were fortunate to travel with your varsity down to Florida or wherever it might have been. And that was an exhausting trip. And you were expected to be on time. And as my college coach said, being on time means being 15 minutes early. So you're going to be tired and you're going to have to leave the hotel with your bags packed. And we're going on the bus and going to a new hotel, or we're going to a field. You're going to have to be timely. Okay. You're going to have to be alert. And we're going to have that expectation. And as Coach Caliendo said, I mean, this is a good preparation, whether it be for pro baseball or college baseball, where everyone has an expectation that you're going to be on time. It's one thing if your aunt is on the trip and she's running late, but we're expecting the players to be on time, represent us well. You're wearing USA on your chest when you're playing games. You've got Caliendo Sports being represented. You got your family names here. So let's represent very well. And that's going to be the expectation of the coaches. Coach Tauber, are you on the call? And if so, any suggestions about what we should be bringing or anything about hydration or just overall body care? Okay. I know the Taubers are away on vacation. I see them on here. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we could have them email something to the group
Yes.
if he can't get on.
Yeah, and if
I'll
anyone
ask
needs a water bottle, I mean, I'm not gonna bring 15 water bottles on the flight, but a lot of you live near me. And feel free to come by my house. We got camp water bottles. Many of you guys have been to the baseball camp. If you lost your water bottle or need one, feel free to come by my house and I can give you guys a water bottle. That's fine.
Coach Tauber's mic's not working. Just got a message.
Yeah, well,
You hear
I'm
me,
really
Dave?
looking
Oh.
forward to not only working with the coaches as mentioned, but we got some new players that I haven't worked with before, Gavin and Logan. I think I pretty much know all the other players. Maybe one other I haven't worked with. So
And we have
oh,
we have somebody from
Santoro.
Illinois, I thought. Who's from Illinois? Yeah. Coughlin, right?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
pitcher.
Not bad, not bad. I never met him. See that? And I know I see his, yep, from Illinois. Only because I know when your mom and dad's been emailing back and forth.
All right. So are you a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan? Neither?
No,
Neither.
neither.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Cincinnati Reds then.
No.
All right. You can hold off on telling us. I can wait till Rome.
Coach Tauber, we got the message. You'll be on the call tomorrow because you're in the car right now. Coach, couple things I just want to mention before we go, unless you got anything else.
I think for the first meeting, we covered a lot of stuff. I would just say this, guys, you're going to play a lot of different positions. So you might be most comfortable playing shortstop, most comfortable playing center field. But you're going to be playing multiple positions because we got 14 guys and, we do want to keep people fresh and give you that experience of playing all over. So just, back to Coach Caliendo's flexibility, be ready to, play third or first or catch or right field. It'll be fun to have that flexibility, playing the positions from the game from multiple perspectives. So, that's something as a coach, I really want to stress. Coach Caliendo, you could talk a little about the competition. I know it fluctuates. Remember when we were there last time? We played where they ran out a 17-year-old on the mound and he was throwing pretty hard.
Yeah, I'll mention.
It's good. Yeah.
I'll mention that there'll be times, again, remember in Italy that they don't have a lot of teams, so they're in different areas. Sometimes they bring players from other area because they don't have enough. August, unfortunately, August is the only time most players in the US can go. And it's also the time that some Italian players are on vacation. So the competition is going to vary. And obviously, if they have a couple older players, that's fine because we'd rather have a little bit more competition than less competition. The only thing there will be if obviously there's somebody there that overpowers that when it comes to, somebody getting hurt, that's different. But as far as a little bit more competitive, hopefully they can get some players that can be a little bit more competitive. So you just don't know from club to club. It is. And here's the other thing is, like anything else, and I'm sure coach can tell you this, you play the game hard no matter what, right? Whether you're down 10 runs or whether you're up 10 runs, Japanese are famous for this. You can go to one of their games anywhere in Japan and you never know if there's no scoreboard, you never know what the score is. They could be down 15 and it seems like it's a 1-run ball game because they play hard from start to finish. So again, the competition could vary a little bit. I did want to mention this, and Coach Gurney mentioned that being on time. There's going to be times, obviously, when we don't control the restaurants, we don't control the fields, we don't control the weather, the uncontrollables. But one thing we do control is the bus. That's going to be on time. We are right sharp, and that means for everybody, parents, coaches, staff, because if somebody's late, that backs up the schedule, backs up the tour, backs up because we don't know the traffic sometimes, backs up the game. It could cost us time in the game, and anything that happens. So that's why I said earlier, you got to prepare the evening before. Don't wait till the morning to prepare what you're going to bring, because all of a sudden you forget something. If we're 20 miles down, we ain't going back. Now, if we can get it for you somewhere in town, we'll do that. But again, you've just got to be ultra prepared and early, as Coach Gurney said. The other thing is, I know this from running tryouts with USA Baseball many times. When I ran tryouts for USA Baseball national programs, never told the players what the expectations were. And this is our national teams. So officially the USA Baseball national teams. I never told the players at the tryouts what we expected of them, because what we wanted to do is see how they handled themselves, because they should know things that they've been taught either by their parents or by their coaches or whoever, and their teachers, to see how they do things on the field or prior to the field, how they dress, how they maintain themselves, how they communicate, how they talk, everything about them. I never told them ahead of time, but in this case, I will bring it up only because you will be evaluated throughout the whole trip. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean just baseball. That means how you act, how you behave, how you eat, how you dress, how you interact with other people at the hotel, how you interact with your teammates, how you interact with other parents, how you interact with your coaches. I mean, there's so many things that you could be evaluated on, because if Coach Gurney, Coach Balliet, right? Balliet, I gotta say, it's a French, Balliet, or any of the coaches or staff members, between all of us, I mean, my goodness, we probably have over 100, 150 college contacts. So if you're being evaluated and you want a recommendation somewhere, that recommendation is going to be real, right? I mean, it's not going to be a fake recommendation, because the coaches know you. They're going to evaluate you and they're going to give that real recommendation. How did you handle yourself on a 1-week trip overseas? So you really, that's a bigger evaluation, in my opinion, than going to a tournament, because a tournament, they see you on the field, but they really don't get to know you. In this case, we get to know you, and under some difficult situations sometimes, right? A little bit more stressful, long day, it's hot out, as we mentioned over and over. It's not an easy trip. We're on the go constantly. That's why your breakfast is so important in the morning. Mandatory. You got to eat breakfast, so you're not going to be able to perform. That's going to reduce your performance. Your sleep's important. I know your coaches tell you this, and sometimes we don't take it serious, but your sleep right now in professional baseball is the number one thing. Sleep and recovery. If you sleep well and you recover well, you have a better chance of performing well the next day. That's just a fact. It's science. That's something to learn. I'm sure the coaches will be going over that. The other thing is, as you're traveling on the plane, you might want to get some rest, catch up, because that way you catch up on your time. Drink some water. When you pack your carry-on bag, pack some things that if they lost your bags for a couple days, you'd have enough. Your toiletry, whatever's allowed by TSA, some shorts, underwear, a pair of pants, shoes, your glove. Obviously not gonna be able to bring your bat and your helmet on or your catcher's equipment on the plane. If something happens, we can always get equipment when we're there. but pack something, so at least if they lose your bags, you've got something for the next couple of days, because that possibly can happen. And anticipate, we'll tell the parents this, I'm sure they've been reading the news, anticipate some possible delays in your flights too. There's a lot of delays going on right now. And again, it's going to be hot. We hope that the weather will change when you get there. Okay, so a little bit on that. Other than that, really don't have anything else as coach was talking, anything else really to go over. There's a lot about the trip that we can't cover it all. So as we go, we'll help out at our meeting in Rome. We'll go over things. We'll go over things with your parents. And think of it this way. If you've been to a baseball school before, baseball camp, maybe Coach Gurney's camp, and you didn't know anybody, the first day is always the toughest day, right? You're not accustomed to the system, the way it's running. The next day, you get a little bit more accustomed to it. By the third day, you're really accustomed, and now you know exactly what to expect, and things kind of roll. So the first couple of days are always it's a learning process. The trip will go by this fast. Once you hit that third day, it'll be over before you know it. It flies. So enjoy it, take pictures, be in that moment where you just say, wow, this is awesome. I'm in a Coliseum. This is incredible. The history behind it, St. Peter's Church. I mean, you'll never see anything like it, anywhere in the world. So just enjoy your time there. Like Coach said, be flexible, relax, follow our lead. We'll take care of you. We'll have it all organized for you. Any questions you have, we're there for you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We don't care what question to ask, because some people have not traveled overseas. So while you're there, if you need something, we know some people have some food allergies. We got those listed. So, obviously follow that when we're eating together. Remind us, we'll tell the parents this also. Remind us just in case about the food allergies, even though we've got it listed down. Other than that, I know coaches, if you don't have anything.
No, just get your rest leading up to the trip. Don't get run down before the trip. And I'm going to tell the parents tomorrow, get used to walking on hot days. Like, go to your local track, or even better, go to an inner city area, White Plains or New York City or Chicago or Baltimore, wherever you guys are. Go into a city and walk around, get in shape for kind of the touring we're going to be doing.
Yeah, and the tour is and we got to stay together in the tour. So don't walk away, or stay behind, because you can get lost. There's a lot of tourists in August, so you see a lot of groups. And we'll try to stay in the shaded areas as we're walking. The tour guys know how to do all this. And the reason we've got that walk also is because buses in Italy are not allowed into the inner city. They have to park outside the city a little bit. And there's a little bit of a walk. It's kind of strategically put in, a little walk to get to the town. Okay. So again, have your water bottle, that helps. And I've been on this trip a lot. I'm looking forward to it. So you just imagine, I'm always excited about going to Italy. This is your first time. I know you're excited. You have a great time. And I look forward to meeting everybody and being with you. Anything else? All right. We'll see the parents tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern time. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being on.
Good night. Thank you.
Ciao tutti. Buonanotte. That means good night. Buonanotte tutti. I will stop the recording. Hang on 1 second. If the coaches want to stay on for a second, if you got any questions, hang on. Where'd it go?